First, the president won't call them Islamic terrorists, and now he seems to be denying their motives. This is what he says about the recent terror attack at the Kosher Deli in Paris.
It is entirely legitimate for the American people to be deeply concerned when you've got a bunch of violent, vicious zealots who behead people or randomly shoot a bunch of folks in a deli in Paris.
Well, you're right, Mr. President. Americans are concerned because it's you think this was a random act. Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Bowling. Welcome to Cashin In. Our Cashin In crew this week: Wayne Rogers, Jonathan Honig, Ainsley Earhart, and Jessica Tarlov. Welcome, everybody. Wayne, I'm going to start with you. How can the president keep America safe and our economy intact when he won't even acknowledge who the enemy is and, very importantly, what they're up to?
Eric, I have no idea. I mean, the man, if he doesn't know a kosher delicatessen from a McDonald's, I mean, does he know what a bagel is as opposed to a donut? I mean, this is outrageous. The fact that he doesn't understand that this was a targeted thing, that this was a kosher delicatessen, these were Jews. On the other side, you have Islamic terrorists. It's beyond imagination that he doesn't understand that this is an anti-Semitic act. I don't get it.
Jessica, what do you think the motive is to be so vague about calling the Islamic terrorists Islamic and terrorists? Why do you think he would say random acts when very obviously to just about everyone there was a specific attack on a Jewish deli?
I think using the word random was a mistake. I don't think there's really any way to defend it, and I think that's why Josh Earnest addressed it, perhaps poorly in the news conference and then with his tweet. But the president's hesitancy to call it Islamic terrorists, I think, is this fear, right, that people will think that he's blanketing all Muslims with this. But I think that that's also a mistake.
But even though the terrorists call themselves Islamic?
Absolutely. As I said, I think it's a mistake, and there are, leaders even in the Arab world like El-Sisi and King Abdullah who are calling it what it is, and they're calling on all imams, right, to call out these people for what they're doing and to make it clear that this isn't what Islam is actually about.
All right, let's do this. Let's run right to what Jessica just pointed out, that soundbite of Josh Earnest in the briefing room after President Obama called the attack on the Paris Jewish deli a random act. Here's Josh defending it vehemently.
The adverb that the president chose was used to indicate that the individuals who were killed in that terrible, tragic incident were killed not because of who they were, but because of where they randomly happened to be.
They weren't killed because they were in a Jewish deli, though? They were in a kosher deli?
These individuals were not targeted by name.
Wow, they weren't targeted by name. Ainsley, listen to this. Just a couple of minutes after that full-throated defense of random acts, here's Josh Earnest tweeting, mind you, tweeting, "Our view has not changed. Terror attacks at Paris kosher market was motivated by anti-Semitism. POTUS didn't intend to suggest otherwise." Ainsley, after he left the briefing room, within minutes, tweeted a full walk back of everything they had done throughout the day.
What was so interesting, if you watched that whole exchange with the reporter, it was so obvious that he was trying to deny any religious affiliation with ISIS, and I felt like it was almost like the president and his team had been briefing him in the briefing room behind the scenes right before this press conference and saying, say this was random, do not admit that it wasn't. It was so obvious to me. So the tweet, for him to step back and take it back, I guess he realized the effect it had on everyone.
Hey, Jonathan, you and I spend a lot of time on Twitter. To tweet something has far lesser reach than to stand in the briefing room and let the world know what President Obama intended.
Right, Eric, well, it wasn't just even this comment. It's been the president's whole approach in foreign affairs, particularly towards Islamic terrorism. What you've seen is evasion on a mass scale. I mean, to your point, these are, according to the president, these are just isolated incidents, just a couple of folks. We'd arrest a few bad apples. He is oblivious to the 30-plus years of Islamic terrorism. He won't even say Islamic. It's always like ISIL, ISIS, AQ, AQAP. So, we've spent millions and millions of dollars, billions and millions of dollars on this war. We're not going to win it because the president literally can't even get the enemy's name out of his mouth.
All right, I'm going to pull up a poll, guys. We'll bring it around after that. A new Fox News poll showing that 68%, two-thirds of Americans, think that President Obama should be tougher on Islamic extremists. Wayne, let me start with you. If two-thirds of the country believe it, should he listen to two-thirds of the country?
Look, does he think 9/11 was a random act? To stand up there and say that and actually think that the American people are going to believe it, it's beyond my comprehension.
Beyond, you're right. Go ahead, Ainsley. Random act. Wayne Points makes a very, very astute point. 9/11 was no random act.
Absolutely not. This is a group that's killing children because they're not denouncing Christianity, burying them alive. They're catching men on fire, putting them in cages, and watching them burn human beings. You know, I think America really wants, and according to, you look at that poll, America really wants our president to react the way that King Abdullah did. He said, I will use every last bullet I have to eradicate ISIS. And we need to hear a response like that from our president.
King Abdullah of Jordan. Go ahead, Jessica. With 68%, we're not doing enough. Do you agree?
I agree that we're not doing enough, but this week the president took steps to do more, right? He's asked for military authorization. And I think there's also another interesting number from that poll, which is that 73% of people think that the president doesn't have clear strategy. And I think this also relates to the issue of using the word random, that the president needs to be clearer in his language and more transparent with the public about what he's doing.
Go ahead, John.
Well, Eric, we know he's got a clear strategy for climate reduction, for global warming. I mean, I think the most shocking comments out of the president this week were the idea that he thinks that climate change is a bigger risk than Islamic terrorism.
Yep.
That's where our tax dollars are going to be going. The president just doesn't look weak on Islamic terrorism. He is weak.
You know what? Maybe if he was less concerned with AccuWeather and more concerned with AccuTerror, we might be in a safer place. Well, final thought on this before we go. Last thought?
Well, as I said, Eric, I don't know how you can, a president of the United States can stand up and say something that is so obvious to the rest of the world and to everybody and to deny it. I mean, that's just, it's beyond comprehension, as I said. I don't know how.
Terror denier. How's that? Terror denier. I like that. We're climate deniers. They could be terror deniers. We're going to have to leave it right there. When we launched the hashtag Wake Up America last week, I had no idea how successful that would turn out to be. We shattered all prior records for impressions, records we already held. Check out this graph. Here's how you made the hashtag Wake Up America the most active hashtag on cable news by a country mile. And get this, the hashtag not only beat won Saturday, we also won all day Sunday, and we weren't even on TV. Now that's a powerful hashtag. I just tweeted this picture. One's real, one's fake, and one's a wannabe. Which one is which? Retweet with your comment and add hashtag Wake Up America. I'll read a couple of those at the end of the show. Coming up, Hollywood elites making it very black and white. They've got no problem with the controversial message of 50 Shades of Grey, but a very big problem with American Sniper. Is it time to call out these Hollywood hypocrites once and for all?